Hey, man. So here's a story today about perspective and challenging your own perspective. And I learned this lesson in a really interesting, kind of funny way. My girlfriend was staying at my place one day and we were making some food. She put bread in the toaster and then she was, sitting on the couch. She said, "Hey, can you butter my toast when it's done and bring it over?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So the toast pops up. I put some butter on it, but the butter was really hard, so it stayed in like chunks. It didn't melt. And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go above and beyond. I'm gonna be a real good boyfriend here, and I'm gonna help her out." And then I didn't want to over toast it, just in case. But I took that, like those butter chunks. I put the toast on top of the toaster, and I turned it back on so that the butter would melt. Right? Ooh, melty butter. She's gonna love this. Because how else do you have toast with butter? And as soon as the butter melted, I turned the toaster off and I brought it over to her and I said, "Here you go." She said, "Oh, you melted the butter," or she said, like, "Where's the butter?" or something like that. And I was like, "I melted it. There it is. It's on there." And she kind of looked at me, and I can't remember the exact words that were exchanged, but this is when I learned. She said, I wanted the butter on it, you know? She didn't want melted butter on her toast. She wanted the butter chunks on her toast. And to me, it was the craziest thing because who eats their toast like that? Like, I had never done that in my life. I thought it was so strange to want chunks of butter on your toast rather than melted butter, let alone without jam or something, but I'm okay with that. Story for another day. Or not. I'm not going to tell a story about jam on butter and toast. Or, yeah, jam and butter on toast. No. Anyways, point being that it challenged this notion that I had in my head that there was one way to eat toast with butter, right? As silly as that may sound, it was a perspective that I had. It was an expectation that I had. It was a notion that existed in my head about the right way to do something, or the best way to do something, or something that everybody would enjoy. And immediately the feedback was somebody does not agree with you, you know? It was really interesting. It was really interesting because there's nothing wrong with it, right? There's nothing wrong with liking your butter a certain way or liking your toppings and condiments in your food. And obviously, we all know that everybody has their own preferences. It's not like everybody likes the same kind of food. We all know that other people like different kinds of food than we do. So it's not really that crazy of a notion. But for some reason, this little example really struck me. And yes, I extrapolate that out to other things too. Like I had to apply this lesson to, well, you might not know what everybody likes in every situation, or you might not know what is best, right? Like, subjectively speaking, your idea of what's best or the best way to do something or enjoy something, it just might not be somebody else's cup of tea or somebody else's bread and butter, you know? And I say that tongue in cheek because it's bread and butter, but bread and butter also meaning like foundation and staple and like stability and bread and butter, like basics, right? Like people do basic shit differently all the time. Did you know that some people eat breakfast before they brush their teeth? And if you're one of those people, then yeah, you already know this. But I had to learn that in my teenage years. Like, what? Isn't that kind of weird? Isn't that kind of gross? Because I was taught when I was a child, like, you have to brush your teeth before you eat food. It's like more hygienic or whatever, or it was just like lifestyle or habits. And I'll be honest, like sometimes I do it. It's not like there's anything wrong with it. I mean, my daughter does it. She loves eating before she brushes her teeth, and I haven't taught her otherwise just because I did it that way or I believe a certain thing or whatever. Like it's sometimes just a preference. And yeah, again, this might seem kind of stupid and this might seem kind of silly or like a small thing, but it's about what you do with the lessons. And I think that's what I'm trying to communicate here. It's like it's really about like what you take from these simple situations in life. Like how do you apply them in other situations in your life? And for me, it was such an interesting little like poke to my brain that like, hey, don't assume, right? Don't assume. What do you think? Drop a comment if you have a comment. Are you a chunky butter on toast person? Do you brush your teeth before? Or sorry, do you eat before you brush your teeth? Like, let me hear from the weirdos in the comments today, I guess. Thanks for watching.